My name is Peter Tofovic, and I own a dental practice in city of Chicago. Air filtration is something that has been on my mind for a couple of years, and I've kind of looked at it here and there, but never really dove into it. Obviously, with the current situation, it kind of got put to the front. So I started researching. First, it started with masks, and understanding how air filtration really worked. As a dentist, evidence-based information is really important to me. Especially in times like this, a lot of information is out there, a lot of information that couldn't be backed up by science. So one of my biggest priorities was something that I purchased, be it mask, whatever new piece of equipment or addition to our office would have to be backed by science. So diving into air filtration, it really surprised me how unregulated it was, and it was kind of the wild, wild west. A lot of the air filtration kind of techniques or systems out there really didn't have a lot of data, and not only that, could actually cause more harm than good. One example was the UV system of air filtration. It's touted, they use it in hospitals, and you hear that it's a really good way and cheap way to do it. The downside of it is the production of ozone, which is going to be very, very harmful. It's actually regulated how much ozone needs to be in the air. So, it's something I kind of looked into and then pushed it aside because I just didn't want to have to deal with potentially causing more harm than good than incorporating that. Then I really spent time in researching what hospitals were doing, thinking, hey, if they've already done this for years, I can kind of skip a lot of steps and just learn from what they do. So started really deep diving into that and looking at the science, and stumbled upon a couple of studies that were done at an FDA approved lab for the Purashield and their kind of system of filtration. And it was really impressive because it filtered, there was solid data that showed that it filtered against SARS, H1N1, influenza, and then an MS2 surrogate that's considered a surrogate for COVID-19. I hadn't seen anything like that for any other of the filtration system, so that was really, really important in my decision making. Once I saw the data, then the other factors that influenced me were the size of the unit. Very limited space in a dental office. I previously purchased other filters that didn't have data but were kind of cheap, and I said, look, can't hurt to get at least some filtration in our office, but they're just the footprint of it, we just couldn't put them where we needed to. The other thing that I quickly realized that I wish those same units had wheels. Didn't realize how helpful wheels would be versus having to do our hygienist or even me having to lift the units and move them around. So kind of looking at the Purashield kind of checked all of those boxes. It didn't have a really big footprint. It had wheels, and the really other big important part besides having data was how effective was it? How much air filtration could it actually accomplish in such a small size? And for us, it was 550 square feet. It can do over 12 air changes per hour, which is what the CDC guidelines were. So for us, it checked all of those boxes. So looking into HEPA filters, which is the first thing we looked into, right? I want to have as close to the patient filtration as I can to limit really those same particles to get around the office. And that's where the Purashield really is something that will help us do that. So the way we're going to do it is that we'll have a Purashield in each of our rooms. Again, it does over 12 circulations of the air an hour, and actually if you put it on the highest can even do better than that, depending on the room size, obviously, and it's very, very efficient on that. Another study showed that it does it 99.95% in 15 minutes. So once the air gets filtered, then we can move that unit to another room where then we can seat our patient. So infection control at our office, like everybody's office, really, it's always been very, very important to us. And with the COVID-19, obviously that's changed a little bit in the sense that we're adding additional steps to our infection control. Our infection control was really primary concerned with taking care of bloodborne pathogens for us up until now, but now air filtration, at least in our practice, will remain a permanent addition to our infection control even after the COVID-19 crisis passes.